E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, broadcasting and live streaming to millions of devices around the world, including Roku, and live streaming to Facebook Live. Also on Amazon Fire TV and to Twitch. Also Android TV and Periscope. Broadcasting to Apple TV and YouTube Live. Proudly brought to you by our host, Donna Guinois, producer and host, Mikayla Vidal, host and administrator, and Jim Grant, producer and host. Proudly brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you today by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. As you saw, that's sixminutewebinar.com. A lot of good things to talk about today. I'm joined today by Mikayla Vidal. She's the host and administrator here with us at E360 TV. And yesterday, we just kicked off part one. Let me get part one, get my finger going here. Got to be like a little kid here. Okay, which finger are you using here? You know, the little one is fine. Part one of tourism. And we know, thanks to 2020 and all the scares that COVID has spread around and the news media has, a lot of people are scared to go anywhere. Even though you want to travel, you want to go to see some nice places, some fun places, maybe some places you've never been before, or some places that you've been before and you'd love to go back, but you're thinking, I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable about that. I mean, you know. But yesterday we had Dr. George Grant on. I tell you what, let me put up his website. Let me put my glasses on here and act my age, if I may. And Dr. George Grant, let me share a little bit with you. Here he is. Okay, the academyofwellness.com. Yesterday, I've had Dr. Grant on twice before, I think, on the TV show and the radio show. He is he has 3 doctor's degree. He worked with the Canadian, I'm trying to think of the name, but it's the equivalent of the CDC, the Center of Disease Control here in the United States. He's actually worked with them. And he is a subject matter expert on your health. And he is real big on natural cures. His attitude is prevention is better than treatment. And if you go to his website there, you can click on his website, and there's a little freebie he's got there where you can take an evaluation of yourself. Plus the fact, if you mention that you saw this on the show, I think his full body scan, which takes just a few minutes, is $150, but he said he'll knock $50 off if you mention that. And the $50 off is just a 100% discount. Dr. Grant, he did a full scan on me, and then he did another one after he gave me some good advice. This thing is a full-blown MRI. I am not making this up, folks. This thing blew my mind because he sent it to me. He says, open this up. I'm going like, you're kidding. He's got all these things listed here that only doctors can understand. But if you right click on them, and see, look it up, it'll tell you what it's about. And the nice thing was a lot of the reds I had in this column had shifted to greens in the current column. The past column, I had a lot of reds in there. The column I got yesterday was greens. And I'm going like, hey, I like that. And that's because I followed some of his advice. Now, the things that he recommends for you, you can find at any grocery store. You can find at your own place where you buy from always buy your vitamins and your supplements or anything like from a trusted source. That's very, very wise because a lot of people will cut corners because whether it's in vitamins or supplements or anything like that, the old human nature comes out. We've seen it in all industries, ladies and gentlemen. Profit over people 100% of the time. But when you're dealing with name brand companies, companies that are established, that have a great reputation, 100% money back guarantee, they're in it for the right reason. I'm not saying the other folks aren't in it the right reason, but they might be just buying stuff to buy to sell and really don't know where it came from. You know what I mean? But just be prudent and just be careful. Most importantly, yes, you can remain healthy. Just be prudent, use common sense, the same type of prudence and common sense you would use if you're going to go to the grocery store. Think about it. Your people in there are just as clean or just as dirty or just as infected as anywhere else, so it's got to use common sense. And with me today, we're going to talk about a very interesting subject when you're traveling. It's so much fun to travel with a carload of kids, right? Ever dad's
A
dream.
blast.
I remember one time we were traveling to my aunt's house. Now, this is back in the 50s. The only air conditioning we had in those days back in them old cars was the 455 air conditioning. And a lot of you young folks may say, what's 455 air conditioning? It was four windows down, 55 mile an hour, okay? And we were going to our aunt's, yeah, we were going to our aunt's house there in South Carolina, Mikayla. And none of us wanted to go. It was in the summertime. It was hot. And we're complaining. And I never will forget what my dad did. He finally had enough of us back there moaning and groaning, complaining. I don't want to go over there. It's not fun. Why couldn't we stay at home? All that typical
Right.
kid stuff. We didn't have seatbelts in those days. Okay. He slams on the brakes. Us kids were falling on each other on the floorboard. Pulls the car over to the side. He says, now listen, we're going to go there and you're going to enjoy yourself whether you like it or not. So shut up. So we all sat back in the back seat of the car and we were quiet like we were going to attend a funeral.
Not a single word after.
No, ma'am. But see, that's a common problem that parents have when they're traveling with kids because kids get impatient, they get tired. Mikayla and Ruben together, they have six kids. So she's a pretty good subject matter expert on how you keep kids entertained today to keep them from fighting, pulling hair, or mama, so and so did this. I know you've
Are
never
we
heard
there
that, have
yet?
you?
That's the most
When
common one.
Oh yeah, when you and Ruben travel, I know you go up to Dallas quite often and things like that, and that's a several hours trip. What are some
Hmm.
of the things that you've experienced and some of the things that you've learned to try to keep peace in the car?
Let's see. So, so we don't go all the way to Dallas. We go like halfway. But if I remember correctly,
Okay.
it's like a 2 hour drive there and then
Hmm.
2 hours
Hmm.
back.
Hmm.
Um, Normally when we go, it's always to go pick up their sisters. So they're pretty well behaved in the car on the way there because they're anticipated to see their sister. Um, but honestly, I find the most difficulty just going down the street, just a 10-minute drive to the grocery store. I mean, it's always, are we there yet? Or if I have to stop and get gas, it's always one, are we still gonna go to the store? I mean,
Hmm.
and just when we do travel, anything over an hour, we have to plan that ahead, definitely,
Hmm. Yeah.
because
One thing with kids too, it comes to mind, and I just popped into my head. But with kids, they go into a store and they want to pick up stuff and look at stuff and put finger
Mhm.
stuff and all that. With with the current situation that we're in, the fear factor, the possibility of COVID and all that,
Mhm.
how do you as a mom deal with that mentally, physically? What's your gut feeling?
So Um, I'm kind of in the middle. So part of me, I try not to like keep my kids inside. We still go to the store and everything. My kids are
Hmm.
pretty well behaved though. You know, I make sure they know the rules. Keep your hands on the cart. So I'm the
Hmm.
mom with two kids here, two kids there, one sitting. You know, so they are pretty well behaved.
Hmm.
They will touch things. I just have to tell them, like, you know, don't be touching things. And, you know, I'll pull the
Hmm.
whole mom thing of what happens if you break it? Mommy's not going to pay for it.
Hmm.
And so, but they really are well behaved.
Hmm. That's
But
true.
I
They
think
are.
it's a general rule I feel like parents should have to not let your kids just wander around the store and touch
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
because
Do you have any handy wipes or anything like that where you wipe off their hands from time to time in the car or anything like that? Or
I try to as much as possible. Honestly,
hmm.
when I had like maybe one or two, I always had like boogie wipes, sanitizing wipes, all kinds of
Hmm.
wipes. Now it's just I'm lucky if I just have the wipes. Luckily at the store they have the little sanitizing wipes, so I do wipe the
Hmm.
cart down, you know, or you know when we get out of the store, give them hand
Hmm.
sanitizer. So
Yeah.
the basic stuff, just
That's what
remembering.
Dr. Grant was saying, just basic stuff and just be prudent. But the real
Mhm.
key of it is he talked a lot about vitamin D and how that is the
Mm.
foundation of your immune system.
I
And
think that's the most common deficiency people have is in vitamin D.
yes, ma'am, you are correct on that. And of course,
Mhm.
we get vitamin D from the sun. And he was talking about if you want to go out and get sun, lay out in the sun, get a tan or whatever, do it in the early morning hours and not
Mhm.
during noon, not in the middle of the day when it's the hottest, because that's when the most UV rays can be centered on your body. And he says, do it
Mhm.
early in the morning, on up to, I think he said 10 o'clock, if I remember correctly, or something like that, maybe 9. And then in the afternoon, after 4 or something.
That
And
makes sense.
just be prudent like that. And with vitamin D3, he said, and I've done this, and that chart that I was telling you about,
Mhm.
the proof was in the pudding. It blew my mind because he'll send it to you through an email, and it is a full blown body test. I mean, it is
It's crazy.
unbelievable. Yeah, it's kind of like a 3D. You look at your body in a 3D kind of, print out there. I mean, it's just, with all
I'm
the,
gonna have to try it.
yeah, yeah. Just go to his website and just, touch base with him and that sort of thing. And from there, you know, he was saying once you get your numbers up and all that, your body now has the ammo to naturally fight off any type of viruses and disease and things like that. And he's just his amazing story. Now, listen to this. He had
Mhm.
a guy come to him that was 79 years of age. The guy, he was on hospice. He had buku problems.
Wow.
The doctors had sent him home to die. Dr. Grant has a book called 101 Ways to Live Healthy or something like that. And the
Mhm.
reason why he named it a 101, that 79-year-old man who came to him kind of like, this is the last resort, you know.
Right.
They're expecting me in a day or a few days to be shaking hands with the Undertaker. He was 79. The man turned 101 years old. At
Holy
79, he
moly.
was sent home on hospice. So when I say Dr. George Grant is no joke, Dr. George Grant is no joke. He's the real deal.
It sounds
I
like
mean,
it.
yeah. I mean, he's had 20, I think 20,000 patients around the world. I mean, he's well known. He's written, I don't know how many pamphlets and books and stuff like that. In fact, one doctor contacted him and says, how come you're recommending such toxic levels of vitamin D for your clients? And he said, well, there's nothing wrong with, getting 10,000 IUs or MGs or something like that. That's why he recommends daily for vitamin D3.
Mhm.
And he says, just look up these documents. And he says, I wrote a document on that, a pamphlet. And he said, I think it was 6 months later, it wasn't long, but there was all these other pamphlets just popped up to the surface, preaching the gospel about taking all that good vitamin D3. And he knew of a case where this guy had read something from some, um, it was a, uh, it was a myth more than anything else, that if you
Mhm.
took 250,000 mgs a day of vitamin D3, it would eventually put you to sleep and kill you. Because the man was looking for a way to commit suicide. He
Mhm.
failed. I guess he was mighty, mighty healthy, but he failed. But I mean, even then, that's a ridiculous amount. But even then, that did not turn his body into a toxic situation. And
Right.
that's very, very important because that preys on people's mind. How can I be healthy if I want to
Mhm.
go somewhere? Because let's be honest, when COVID 19 first shut us down in 2020, one of the biggest things that people suffered from was cabin fever.
Yep.
And all the kids in the house, I imagine that was, we're not asking for any details unless they're good and juicy. But Mikayla, I bet, because your kids are still small, so that might have been not too big of a deal for you. But I mean,
Mhm.
for some parents, we all know that domestic violence went up, suicides went up. I mean, it was literally, enough to drive people, straight on into, you know,
Crazy.
Zuni land, you know?
No, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
That's crazy.
they could take an orbit around Jupiter and, still trying to find their way back. And of course, we know, I know of, I think your mom knows of some people that are still confined inside of their house and only go out when it's absolutely necessary because of the fear factor that was
Mhm.
instilled on everybody. We just thought we was
Mhm.
going to see two things. We weren't going to see toilet paper again. We're going to see people walking down the street and dropping dead, you know.
It's
But
starting to look like that again too now.
yeah, yeah. But the good news of it is there's a lot of things that you can do, a lot of things that you can research on. And I recommend you get in touch with Dr. Grant there. Let me put up his website again because this is important for you. If you're going to live your life, you owe it to yourself to live healthy. Okay.
Right.
And I don't get any kind of commission from Dr. George Grant or anything like that. He's no relation to me. I introduced him yesterday on the show. I think that's where he's my 29th. What do they call that when the cousins are 29 people or generations away or something? I was joking with him.
Something like twice removed. Y'all are related.
Yeah, 29 times removed.
I don't
But we
even know
had,
how that works.
yeah, I know what you mean, hon. But you're also going to share today about traveling with kids because a lot of people are strapped on cash. A lot of people live from
Mhm.
direct deposit to direct deposit, and a lot of people live at the 20th of the month, they're out of money, and they still
Right.
have, 10 days left, 11 days left, usually, sometimes, but if you travel with kids on a budget, how do you prepare for that, Mikayla?
So I will start off saying that it's okay not to go on a trip every year. I used to think personally that I was, the worst mom ever if my kids didn't go to Disney by 5 years old, or, they didn't go to the Alamo or something.
Hmm.
But honestly, you don't have to go on a trip every single year. Um, and I try to raise my kids where they don't expect to go on a trip every single year. Honestly, they're happy just to go to Target, but I mean, take like save up. That is like the biggest thing is, at the beginning of the year or wherever it can be now, you don't have to wait for the beginning of the year. Just plan a trip. Whether it be just you with your kids, husband, wherever you want to go, just find one place that you want to go and start planning, start, looking at costs and just start saving up. Save up for
Hmm.
tickets, food,
Hmm.
attractions, even $5 a month. At the end of the year, it'll be something.
Yeah,
So that's
exactly.
my biggest thing is Plan, plan,
And shop
plan.
for coupons, huh?
Definitely. I will
Oh,
say that a
man.
lot of people don't realize that all you have to do is ask for a discount or a free upgrade when it comes to, I don't really know about like plane tickets, but when it comes to hotels or
Hmm.
touring, when you have tickets, all
Hmm.
you have to do is ask for a free upgrade or a kid discount. And a lot of times they'll give it to you. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't realize. And I'm always the
Yeah.
one jokingly asking if I can get a discount. And a lot of the times it works.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it does. It
all you
really
have to do is
does.
ask. All they
And
can
you know,
say is no.
yeah, and they're not going to call security or laugh at you, just,
Hmm.
because I go in places, I'm retired military, and sometimes I'll ask them, I'll say, "Do you have a military discount?" And they'll say no. And I said, "Okay." I said, "You have any discounts for people that's old and ugly?" And I'll look at them. And most of the time, well, always they crack up, start laughing. And this one time, this lady says, "Well, you know what, sir? I'm going to give you a discount. Thank you." Because, I mean, hey,
Hmm.
ask. I mean, they're not going to, think less of you or anything. It's not certainly not an embarrassing thing, but,
Yeah.
it pays. And Mikayla, when I was young, let me say this first about coupons. When I was a young guy, when I was married in my 20s, I hated coupons. Hated them with a passion. You want to know why?
Why? Because
Michaela,
I still
Michaela,
hate them.
Michaela is my granddaughter. And so my wife would give me a coupon, tell me to stop at a store on the way home and pick up something. So me being a typical guy, okay, I got to stop there and get that. So I'm going to jetpack in there, pick up that one thing, get up there and pay for it. And
Hmm.
I get home with the receipt. The very first question I would hear, "Why didn't you use the coupon?" I'm thinking, oh, geez, I didn't even think about that coupon. And back in those days, it was 25 cents, but 25 cents back then was two dimes and a nickel. That was
Right.
almost, that was almost the price of one third of a gallon of gas, because gasoline then was under 75 cents a gallon. And
I
so,
wish.
yeah, it was back then. Yeah, 50 cents, 52 cents we first got married. Yeah, in the early 70s. It sure was.
That's
So you're
wild.
talking 25-cent coupon that, you didn't get back or get off. That's a
Hmm.
half a gallon of gas. What's wrong with you?
It adds
Can't you
up.
remember anything? But, in talking about coupons, that was my experience with coupons. And now things are so available on your cell phone and all that, planning in
Hmm.
advance and making prudent, just being prudent, that can save you a lot of money. Plus the fact, I remember when we used to go on trips, you don't see it anymore, but the thing was, you saw picnic tables.
Hmm.
People would pack their food in the car. And we would stop. We would travel from North Carolina down to Florida, and we would stop along the way, ladies and gentlemen. And we would actually, mom would get out there and she set up a picnic table. I mean, complete with a tablecloth, and all that stuff. And it was common for a stranger over on the next table. You'd say hello to them and all that, and they're eating and you're eating, the kids and all that. But it was common if the mother over there had some extra cake to bring over the extra cake and share with the kids. And it's
Hmm.
so sad in this day and time in our society that nowadays you wouldn't even dare to offer it, number one. Number two, you cannot accept it because, of the meanness and the low morals that we have in our society, which is a sad, sad thing. But that
Hmm.
was my life. Now, in your life with your kids, you know that going to the store, grocery store, and buying some goodies for the trip is a lot cheaper than stopping at some convenience store, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I see our eyes light up then.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I think we're gonna hear
I
something interesting. Go ahead.
see. When I was growing up, it was rare that we went out to eat, and if we did,
Mhm.
It was for an occasion, and I always hated it. I was like, why can't we just go out to eat, you know? And
Mhm.
I get it now. Granted,
Mhm.
I have more kids than my mom, but I can count on one hand how many times we've gone to a restaurant with all of them, and it's one time, and that bill was over $100 just to go out to eat.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, and everything at gas stations is way more expensive. Fast food, it's hard to find something where all the kids are going to eat something. And a lot of times, you don't, if you're traveling, you don't really know what's on the way, what's around. So,
Mhm.
snacks, they're customizable. Each kid can get
Mm.
their own snack. And I
Mhm.
also suggest, especially if you have little kids, um, I think they're called uh, they use them for fishing. I think they're called the tackle boxes. Is that what it's called? Where it has like the little tiny boxes. And it looks like a pencil box almost, but it has these little tiny, little mini boxes inside the box. And a lot of people
Mm.
use them for snacks for their kids
That's a
because
good
a lot of
idea.
kids are picky. They don't like their food
Oh, yeah.
touching. So, and it makes it fun because then they have a lot of options and
And I'm
just whatever.
thinking too, along the way, pardon me for
Mhm.
interrupting, Mikhail, but I'm thinking
No, you're good.
too that you could just, take your kids to the store, to the grocery store, and say, hey, we're getting ready to go on a trip. Now we're going to pick out
Mhm.
some nice little things for the trip that especially that you like and you can have on the because to build up the excitement, to build up the fun
Yep.
that those because every kid needs to know that they're special. And that is
Mhm.
one way you can do it.
Yeah, and they'll realize. I mean, all kids, especially. Well, no, not. It's when they're little. It doesn't. They don't grow out of it. They want to feel, like they're taking part of everything. They want to feel like they're in charge.
Hmm.
So a lot of the times when I go to the grocery store, just on a regular basis, I don't. I pick out the snacks I want for them to eat. But when you let them, make it their choices, it makes it more exciting for them, and they're more excited for the trip because they got their snacks that they always want, but mom doesn't always let them have. So
Hmm.
it lets them feel included in it as well,
Oh, yeah,
especially if they're an
absolutely.
anxious traveler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because every kid is different, and it's always
Hmm.
important for the mom and the dad to be able to, you know, show their kid how special they are, give them that little specialized, because you're going to feed them food anyway, or feed them some kind of
Right,
snacks anyway. So why
right.
not feel special in the process? It's a win-win situation. Plus, then they can't say,
Hmm.
"Well, I don't want that."
Right, I was just gonna
But
say, then
you,
they can't say that they're not hungry even though they're starving.
I tell you, yeah, if anybody ever invented the pill to make a teenager smart, they'd be a billionaire in about 10 seconds. Oh
Kids
my
are
goodness.
always eating.
Oh
At
yeah.
least mine are. Every 5 minutes they're hungry, I swear.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's just a habit with them and just something that they can do. And it's just
Hmm.
a fun thing for them. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about some small towns. I want to talk a little bit about San Antonio, Texas. That's one of my favorite towns to go to. And some of my friends in Houston are going to say, well, Jim, I can't agree with you on that. But I tell people when they come to Texas, I think you'll find San Antonio more interesting than maybe you would Houston. And that's because they got the Riverwalk there.
Yeah.
They got the Alamo there. And they got on the Riverwalk there, folks. They got every restaurant you can possibly think of, from
Hmm.
fast food to special, little cafes and diners and stuff like that. And you can just flat down enjoy yourself. I mean, you can eat so much there, you almost need a wheelbarrow to roll your belly around afterwards. But we're going to pay a little bill here, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be right back right after this brief message. This is about our summit that's coming up in August, and we're very excited about that. We'll be right back. Coming August the 27th through the 29th, 2021, E360 TV and Messages of Inspirational Stories proudly presents Vanya Kuzik Foundation Leadership and Communication Summit in association with the 6-Minute Webinar and E360 TV. Broadcasting live from E360 TV studios to Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Periscope, Twitch, YouTube Live, and Facebook Live streaming. Be sure and register at the 6minutewebinar.com/communication-summit-2021-registration. Wow, I wonder who did that commercial. Oh my goodness. Yeah, little Vanya Kusik, she's putting on a tremendous summit there. We've been so honored to be able to be a part of that. And I was invited to speak on her summit. I got to tell you a funny story out of school. This is a good lesson for some of you speakers out there, or people that want to become speakers or have or be spoken or asked to speak at a presentation, I should say. Her summit back in April was water conservation and rainwater harvesting. And I thought, I told her, I says, that's not my area of expertise at all. The only thing I know about water conservation, when my kids were growing up, I'd tell them, hey, shut that water off and quit wasting it. What's wrong with you? And we talked a little bit more, and I said, you know what I can do, Vanya? I can give a presentation on how a person can get their neighborhood involved to make their community a better place to live. Neighbor helping neighbor. She says, oh, that's perfect. So what I did, I used that 6-minute webinar. The first sentence of the 6-minute webinar starts out, during this 6-minute webinar, I will share with you 3 ways that you can, and whatever your product, program, or service is, lose weight or whatever, just make one per thing, okay? But I changed the wording. I didn't say during a 6-minute webinar. I said, during my presentation today, I'm going to share with you 3 ways that you can get your community involved to make your community to live. That was my opening subject, and I went from there. And then I just filled in on the 3 areas there, you know, because the 6-minute webinar does have a call to action, which means click on this link or buy now or consultation or whatever. And of course, that wasn't appropriate there. But my point was, I just wanted to look good on that international summit because the guest of honor of that summit was a Sultan of Oman, the King of Oman. And so I just wanted to, try to sound intelligent and, to be honest. What are you laughing at, Mikayla? She's sitting there snicking at me when I say I want to sound intelligent. Behave. Good help's hard to find. but anyway, that was my purpose. Then on Sunday morning, she called me back or sent me a message on Facebook. She says, would you be on the summit again today? I thought, well, okay. And I thought she maybe just wanted me there to help fill up she was using Google Meet, help fill up the screen or whatever. And of course, we kicked it off. And after the second, is either the second or third speaker, she says, and now we're going to hear from international TV producer and host, well known around the world, Mr. Jim Grant. And I'm thinking, please, Lord, help me sound intelligent. And so I just, went ahead and, of course, being all the years that I've been speaking, I was able to do it because I was properly prepared in my mind with the 6-minute webinar. That's what I want to share with you. And since I took that long to talk about, let me offer you a free gift. And when I say free, I mean FREE, free. No strings attached, no credit cards. No one's going to call you back. No one's going to send you 41 emails trying to sell you something else. Just go to the 6minutewebinar.com/free trial. You'll put your email address in there and they will know where to send that to. And Mikayla, you filled out a 6-minute webinar, didn't you, girl?
Yep. And I'm going to do another one.
Yeah, I tell you, it's really amazing because it gives you so much clarity. And if you're struggling out there, let me say this. I know we're off topic, but that's okay. If they fire me, I'll go find another job. You see a lot of advertisements where These guys are wanting to sell you their program to 10x your business. That always kind of, it, it, it just doesn't sit well with me. 10x your business. When you're sitting there, especially during COVID and all the things you went through, maybe you lost your job, maybe you're trying to find something to, get some money coming in so you can go on a vacation because you need to get out of the house. Thank you, sweet Jesus, But all that 10x stuff, I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not knocking anybody like that. But what I'm saying, if you're sitting there at ground zero and you're struggling and you got 0x business, you need one thing in your life. You need that 6 minute webinar. I mean that from the
Mhm.
bottom of my heart because we have a lady that she was the catalyst behind it, Stephanie Dwayne. And Stephanie, if you're listening, if you're tuning in, we got you in our thoughts and prayers. We know you're going through some health issues, and we're praying for you, sweetie. And we hope and pray you get much, much better very, very soon. Okay, Stephanie, we gave 6 minute talks, and she got it. She went back to Florida. We did this out in Phoenix, Arizona, ladies and gentlemen. She goes back to Florida. She says, "Hey, this is sweet." She started giving 6 minute talks on her individual presentations because she is a certified clinical hypnotist that has a tremendous track record of helping people lose weight, deal with anxiety, quit smoking, various other things. Okay. She's that good. But when she's talking to someone about losing weight, her 6 minute webinar starts out with during this 6 minute webinar, I will share with you 3 ways that you can lose weight. People who are interested in losing weight, 6 minutes, okay, I'll listen to what this lady's got to say. And she makes up
Mhm.
a different one for each particular topic, just like Mikayla says, I'm going to make another one too. And that's how valuable it is because you can take a product that you're trying to get going and you can actually get that 6 minute webinar, answer the questions. Now, when you make your little video, use pictures and very plain pictures, not a lot of verbiage on them because you want people to be listening to you, not reading. Okay. And I'm going into more detail than I plan to, but I feel like there's someone out there that says, yeah, tell me more, Jim. Uh, be able to use go to Zoom. You can click it up for free. Okay. So I'm talking about free, free, free. So don't tell me you can't afford it. And you can download that 6 minute webinar using your voice, record it, and make sure that your pictures, you don't use more than about 10 or 12 pictures during the entire thing. Make sure your pictures are congruent with what you're saying. Like, have you ever felt, worried or something like that? Show somebody, it's like this, not somebody, smiling like they're about half, stoned or something. But I'm being a little facetious, but you get my drift. You want your pictures to accent what your 6 minute webinar is about. And
Right.
then you can send that, you can upload it to your YouTube channel for free. Okay. You can send that link out to different places. And that way you can get some income coming in for you. Because if you're broke and you're struggling, bless your heart, you need some help. And this is why the messages of inspirational stories even exist. This is why we're here. We want to be a blessing to you. And if we bless you, you know what's going to happen to us? We will be blessed too. It's impossible to bless others without being blessed yourself. That's just a big universal law.
Mhm.
And that's the why we do. And that's why we give you the free trial there of the 6 minute webinar. And I was going to talk about San Antonio, or is it called San Antone here in Texas? We kind of
I
abbreviate
mean,
things.
you can try out the 6 minute webinar while you're on vacation in San Antonio. I mean, you could be
Hmm.
sitting in those
Yeah.
boats that's on the little river walk as you're on your
Oh,
computer.
gosh. Don't listen to her. You want to be taking the scenery when you're out there on the boat on the river walk. Yeah. Typical mom. Hey, you talk about making some money? Okay, tell me more, you know? But
Hey.
sincerely, no, I'm just kidding you. But sincerely, uh, it has 40 questions. It's got a program that Don McGrath created called Script Pal. You answer little individual questions. Don't worry about, well, I think I kind of sounds like I answered before. Don't worry about that. Drive on. And then when you
Mhm.
get it in, it's going to get two documents. One's going to be the questions and the answers. On the other one's going to be during the 6 minute webinar, you start reading it and then you be the judge for yourself. I promise you, it will be the best marketing tool you've ever seen. I give you my word on that, ladies and gentlemen,
And the
because I
cheapest.
know, yeah. And it being a free trial, which means when we say free trial, does that mean there's a subscription later? No, not at all. Not at all. It gives you a chance to try the 6 minute webinar. And then if you need more help, we're available. But that's it in a nutshell. There's no subscription to it. There's no, you know, we do have other things that we sell. And when we put on free webinars and people come in for free, they get their 6 minute webinar and we show them some of the other things we do in our VIP club and all that. You know how many people buy out of that group that showed up for free to get a free 6 minute webinar? Over 70%. What does that tell you? We don't have to sell anything. We don't have to chase after people. Not to sound egotistical or anything, but we're that good. We are that good.
No big deal.
And I'll put the 6 minute webinar against anybody's funnel, any place, anytime. And I mean that in, oh, yeah, there she goes. She's
I'm
pointing to it
pointing
down
to
there.
it.
Yeah. But let's talk a little bit about San Antonio, as I say, San Antone. And we got a little there when she's wanting you to fill out the 6 minute webinar on the Riverwalk. No, no, you don't want to do that. You want to take in this because you get on those little boats and you get a little ticket there and you can ride around and they'll talk about the different places and the history of San Antonio and the Alamo and all that. And of
Mhm.
course, the Alamo is just right across the street. You can walk to the Alamo from the Riverwalk.
Right.
And that is really something to see. But San Antonio is really a neat town, isn't it, Mikayla?
It is. I like to go. Make sure to go. The nightlife. All the little lights are
Hmm.
on and everything. It'd be a good date night for anybody who wants to go on a date.
Yeah, even if you're married, you can lock the kids up there in the hotel room. I'm just teasing. Don't take me seriously. Hey, Jim said you can lock the kids up. I didn't know that. Tie them up. Tie them to the bed or something. But no, but
Don't
it's a
move.
great. Yeah, like Mikayla says, be a great time for the husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend get together and get a
Hmm.
babysitter for your kids, okay? And go out. And it's not that expensive either. It really isn't because I mean, the restaurants, they're going to be about the same any place you go, as far as the cost of
Yeah.
food, depending on what you like. But there's a huge variety of food. I mean, if you can't find something to eat there that will fit your diet, fit your budget, fit your stomach, I don't know what to tell you. You can go down to, Circle K down there and get yourself a moon pie and a Coca Cola. But San Antonio is such a neat place to go. And
Mhm.
it's so much fun. I mean, right there at the Riverwalk in the Alamo, you could spend a full day. And like Michaela says, out there at night, I didn't think about that, but that's true. I've been out there at night with all those lights and all that. And
Mhm.
it's
Really
just
pretty.
oh, yeah. And it's so neat too. It's got like a small town flair to it. Like
Yeah.
yeah, you got these small towns, they got the little sidewalks and stuff and lit up at night. How
Mhm.
neat that would be. That's what it's like. And if you go there and tell them you heard it on our show, they'll probably charge you 10% extra. So don't mention it, okay? No, we don't
Yeah,
have
they'll be
any.
traveling cheap.
Yeah, we don't have any affiliation with them or anything like that. I'm just teasing you. But most importantly, it's important in life to treat yourself. For moms and dads to treat themselves and the kids. We talked about treating the kids earlier. and traveling on a budget and all that, how you can plan in advance. My goodness gracious, Mikayla. Treating yourself like you and Ruben, I know sometimes you guys need to get together and be able to. I thought I silenced my phone. If it doesn't quit, I'm going to take a hammer and it'll be quiet. But thought I muted it there. Hopefully I did that time. But most importantly, how important it is for you and Ruben to get some time off? Because I know it's very, rare because of, having so many kids and all. But how important is it for you
It's
two to get together and just have, you know, husband and wife time or boyfriend and girlfriend time or just couple time?
super important.
Hmm.
But I think we live in even if, you're a single mom or whatever it may be, as soon as kids are in the picture, we just live in a world where if you leave your kids, I've never experienced it personally, but like, if people get a babysitter or leave their kids with their grandparents, it's always, why are you not watching your kids? But I don't think
Hmm.
people realize until they become a parent, like you have to have that time away from them. Yes, you miss them, but you need it. You
Yes.
always have to put yourself first.
Hmm.
And I know a lot of people and a lot of moms who, it's always kids come first, but I can't stress enough that you have to put yourself first. I put myself first and my husband comes next and then it's the kids because if I don't put myself first, I can't if my cup isn't full, I can't, fill my
Hmm.
husband's or my kids.
Hmm.
And if we're not if, we're here and they're below us, if we're not doing good, then they're going to be the effect of that. So,
Yeah.
I think
And
it's
I
very
understand.
important to get time away.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you mean there because it's kind of like if you're traveling on an airplane, they tell you that, if the mask drop down, we lose cabin pressure, whatever. Put the mask on yourself first because if you don't take care of yourself, you cannot take care of your kids. And
Hmm.
I understand exactly where you're coming from there. I put up Donna Guinois. She's a other host here, and she's producer here on the TV show and donnaguinois.com. Her email address is high energy right now. Donna has a free program for you where you can get your energy recharged because if you don't feel good on the inside, if you feel like your life's in a whirlwind and you're struggling on all fronts, you know, bless your heart. My heart goes out to you, but don't stay there. Reach
Hmm.
out to Donna. She can help you with, help you get turned on to the energy. Donna's got skin in that game. I mean, she's had a child that's well, he's a drug addict, will be for the rest of his life, even though if he gets with, I hope he's clean now, but staying clean. I mean, they're always got to admit that they're an addict. She's been through that. She had 3 brain surgeries where she lost the ability to even speak a complete sentence for a long, long time. She couldn't even answer her kids' questions as a single mom when they say, "Hey, mom, what about this?" And the words just wouldn't come from her brain to roll off her tongue. It just didn't happen. How frustrated it is, and so she looked for how she could rebuild herself on the inside. So if you're struggling on the inside, get in touch with Donna. She's a great friend of ours, and she's part of our family here. And I know what she brings to the party, and I know she can be a blessing to you because that's what this show is all about to inspire you and help you in your hour of need. And yes, you do need to get out of the house. And yes, you can go to the grocery store. And yes, you can go on vacation. And yes, you can be healthy. And to be able to handle everything on all fronts. And Dr. Grant will be glad to just visit with you and give you some great information for free. Just get in touch with George and tell him his cousin, the TV station, sent him. He'll take good care of you. He's good people. But, Mikayla, when it comes to getting the kids in the car. Oh my goodness. Have
That's
you
the
ever went
hardest.
yeah, have you ever went anywhere and not forgot anything that you wished you'd have packed?
Um, I'm just lucky I have all the kids. I don't forget any of them.
No, I'm talking about forgetting the kids. I'm talking about forgetting things, to go on the
I
trip.
know. They're the only thing that I actually remember to bring. Everything else, I at least forget something.
Mm-hmm.
If it's
Yeah.
if it's not a snack for them, And
Yeah.
it's my snack I prepared, my water, their
Hmm.
water.
Hmm.
I'm lucky if they all have shoes on. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah. Because,
I'm just lucky they're all in the car.
oh yeah, I hear you. And the moral of that story is you don't sweat the small things because the
Mhm.
small things can drive you crazy. Because if you beat yourself up, I had that. Made a mental note. I was not going to forget that. And don't let
Don't
that
forget it.
spoil your trip. Just forget about it. Laugh it off. Oh well, at least I didn't forget to
Yep.
bring me. At least I didn't
And that's
forget.
important.
Yeah, it
That's
really
important,
is.
especially when it comes to traveling, to realize that
Hmm.
it's okay if you forget something, even if you have a whole list and you check it off, you're probably going to forget
Hmm.
something. But just realize there's going to be bumps in the road when you travel,
Hmm.
but the
Oh yeah.
experience is going to far outweigh. Your kids aren't going to remember if you forgot their pair of shoes.
Mm.
I promise. And if you think about it, a lot of the places you're going to travel to, kids
Mm.
exist there too, so they're going to have more clothes or shoes that you can get. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's no big deal. It's not a
Hmm.
big deal, I promise.
And I thought about something, and there might be someone out there in TV land that says, "Hey, that's a good idea." I travel. Well, I before COVID-19, I would travel, and when I travel, I use either my vehicle or a rental car to go on a trip.
Yeah,
Because honestly, the reason why is because the rental car would get better mileage, about twice as much mileage as my truck does. Okay. And so I did the math one time, the cost of rental car, the gas, the da 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 da, it all come down. And I'm talking about a 3,000 mile trip, several, being gone for a week or so. It would come down to about $100. I'd be upside down, but I didn't have the wear and tear on my vehicle. Plus the
that's
fact,
true.
let's be honest. I mean, if I hit a curb with my truck, I go, oh man, probably knocked the front end out of line, or hope I didn't do any damage or anything. And but if you do that in a rental car, whoops, okay, well it's not rattling or anything, so I'm going to go on. And I mean that's our attitude. But my
Yeah.
point being, in doing things like that is that, and what came to my mind, because when you're driving like that, like from Texas where I live to Phoenix, Arizona, and you're going out across Interstate 10, you go for mile after mile after mile. I think of things like, wouldn't it be funny, for some guy to be driving along about 2 o'clock in the morning, semi brain dead, and somebody puts up some signs out there just for fun to wake people up, say, danger, do not stop, werewolf crossing. That would shake some people up at 2 o'clock in the morning. But
Yeah.
this is the thing I was thinking about. You see these histor- I start to say hysterical. They might be historical markers along the way. Okay. What if someone had an app? Listen to me, folks. What if someone created an app that when you travel down, regardless where you go, throughout the United States or even in Europe, or Germany's in Europe, but Japan, wherever, around the world, interesting things that happen along the way, especially those little historical markers, and the towns that these people are going to be driving through. You could have the local towns advertise on your app. When we stop here in Simontonville or whatever the place is called, be sure and visit, Sandy's Cafe. Okay,
Hmm.
homemade food, da 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 da. Because people going into small towns, they don't really know what's available.
Right.
And I'll guarantee you there's someone out there going, wow, Jim, you
Someone
may
needs to
be
come
onto
up with
something.
that.
Yeah, because it would break up the monotony. And, if the little towns would advertise their specialties, because little towns have such great personalities, they really do.
Hmm.
They have their gift shops, they have their antiques, they got their museums, they got their tours, they may have hiking. I mean, goodness gracious, you could have a ball out there. I
Yeah.
mean, oh goodness. I mean, I don't know how much time we got left, but I'm just now starting to get warmed up. I'm ready to go another hour and a half. We've only got about 5 minutes left. Oh my goodness gracious. But realistically, think about that. because that would be a great out. Because as you're driving down the road, 2 miles ahead, there's a historical marker, and on this date, in whatever date it was, this happened. And it's amazing how, all that historical markers, because people don't stop there. They're
Hmm.
too big in a hurry. But an
Right.
app telling them and be telling them the story before they get there, wow, this is where it happened at, because you'll look at the terrain, you will. And
Yeah, that's smart.
yeah, you think about the small towns coming into, we're coming into Simontonville, or as I think I called it earlier, it's 10 miles down the road. And in this area here, if you got, let the businesses advertise their specialty and all that, because every small town loves tourism. They love people to stop and spend money. In a lot of these small towns, that's their number one industry. And think about, and for you folks out there, when your waitress is waiting on you, a lot of them are single moms and all that. And I said this yesterday, but just kind of like, visit with them a little bit. Now, guys, when I say visit with them a little bit, I mean visit with them, like they're your sister or cousin, okay? You're not out there on a date, okay? She's trying to serve you some beanie weenies and some hot dogs, and she's not looking for a date, okay? But if she's a single mom, be sure and give her an extra tip. Because bless her heart, her and her kids can use that.
Hmm.
And give it with the kind of heart that we should all have when we give something. Give it with love. Because down the road, it won't come from her, but down the road, somewhere or another, you'll be blessed. And you'll be super blessed for that act of kindness, because you helped a single mom in her hour of need, maybe help pay her grocery bill that month, or maybe pay a little bit of her electric bill that month, wherever she uses that money. That is so important. And be able to share your blessings in life with others. That's why we're here. We really are.
Hmm.
And Mikayla, I've just been going on and on. And usually when that happens, I believe that the energy gets flowing and there's someone out there that needs to hear what we said. And I know
Hmm.
there's some single moms out there who wait on tables. Say, yeah, Jim, tell them more. Tell them $100 bill is not a problem. Okay, guys, you heard it from her,
Minimum.
not me. Yeah, you heard from
A
the single
hundred
mom, 100.
minimum.
Yeah, 100 minimum. Yeah, just make for you. Some of you guys out there, make sure the ink's dry before you give it to her. I'm just having a little fun now. But most importantly, enjoy yourself, enjoy your life. Don't live in fear, because once you live in fear, you have enslaved yourself. And wherever you are right now, whatever's going on with your life, maybe you got serious health conditions, whatever. It's the perfect place for you right now, because there's answers out there. If you let go of fear and say, I'm going to love myself, I'm going to love my life, and I'm going to look for answers. Because my calling in life is not to work and worry and be broke. It really isn't. Your calling in life is live in abundance, abundance of life, abundance of liberty. And most importantly, go somewhere and enjoy yourself. Treat yourself. You're that valuable. Don't let anybody tell you you're not.
And you can go by yourself. You don't need anybody to travel with.
There you go. I've done that a
Your
lot too.
relationship with yourself, and I always tell my kids, your relationship with yourself is the most important. Not your friends, not your boyfriend, not, sorry, babe, not your husband. But at the end of the day, you go to sleep and
Yeah.
you're only thinking about not thinking about yourself, but you're in your own head. Nobody else is in your head.
Hmm.
You're your
That's
biggest,
exactly right.
you're your biggest, what were they
Hmm.
called? Not critique. You're your biggest, what are they called? Critiquer? I don't know.
Or your biggest enemy, or your biggest,
Yes. There,
yeah.
I don't know
There's
the word.
another word. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of
Yeah.
it.
You can tell we're related. Neither one of us can think of it. But
It's
most
something
importantly,
along those lines.
oh, yeah. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for tuning in today. We hope that something we said along the way has been a blessing to you. Be sure and treat yourself and Take care of yourself. Look for ways to be healthy. Again, get in touch with Dr. George Grant, academyofwellness.com. Go to his website. You can download his free form there. Take an evaluation of yourself. And our time is gone. And Mikayla, if you'd be so kind as to end the broadcast, I'll wave by while you do that. And she's in charge today. She's the button pusher today. So
I'm gonna
have a good
close the
day.
curtains.
There you go.
Bye, you guys.
Bye bye, everyone. Have a blessed evening or blessed day whenever you see this.